Hi, I'm Dr. Corinne Wickens, and I'm a faculty member in the Department of Curriculum Instruction. And in this video, I'm going to highlight and compare use of concept maps between those that are much more spider or cluster oriented and linear and hierarchical. So I am currently pulling from examples from Teen Health 2. So in their chapter and discussion on drugs. So then the organization around of these topics is based on the textbook chapter. They have 6 different types of drugs they identify, starting with stimulants, depressants, marijuana, club drugs, then narcotics and hallucinogens, and steroids. So what I've done is then elaborated on examples from the book related to our different ones. So we have stimulants, they mentioned specifically cocaine and amphetamines, and depressants, alcohol, and barbiturates. Marijuana can be an upper or a downer, so it stands by itself. In the club drugs, we have some of the common ones is ecstasy, otherwise known as X, rohypnol, otherwise may be common as roofies, the date rape drug, and ketamine, which is actually an animal tranquilizer and commonly known as Special K. Steroids, they didn't mention any specific ones. Then narcotics and hallucinogens, we had LSD as a hallucinogen and heroin as a narcotic. So, but this is a form of a cluster or spider map. And so then because you see how it spiders out and we can have additional elements there. And it's powerful, but what may be problematic for some is that it seems to be too busy or too confusing, too messy. So I am going to show a more linear and more hierarchical example with another discipline to contrast that we can either do it in more club format or cluster and spider format or in a more hierarchical linear format. In this example from I believe is middle school science text on geological formations and rocks, we have a more hierarchical. And so a lot of students, the cluster or spider map is confusing and messy, and likes it laid out much more clearly and explicitly. So, and that's what this does. So science as a discipline is much more linear and organized. So the hierarchical model really benefits and works really super well for this discipline. So we have types of rock, and there are identified in the text as 3 major kinds: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. And so then it also highlights that there is 2 kinds of igneous: intrusive and extrusive. Extrusive and intrusive. So intrusive is when the rock is then cooled inside the earth, and then extrusive when the rock is cooled on the outside, the magma. So the 2 kinds of intrusive, and we have 3 kinds of extrusive. They talked about the 2 primary kinds of sedimentary rock, and that the different kinds of clastic, like plastic, but with a C, clastic. And so that when there are particles that are then comprised as part of the rock, and small, medium, and essentially large size. Chemical is when the chemical reaction, and primarily limestone, but particularly metamorphosis, rock, as we know, is based on change and causes related to high temperatures, significant pressure, and hot water. And primary kinds of metamorphic: slate, schist, gneiss, and marble. So, but the point here is not about the science particularly, but about the organization of ideas and how it is pretty straightforward and organized explicitly in that way.